how are you all? So today I'm going to talk about a topic which is related to what I was talking about last week on my last video with regards to going in to have breast surgery, and it's in regards to the genetic testing, what I was talking about last week. I feel like it's very important for me to go over all the information that I found out whilst I went in for my testing, and when I had the phone call with the lady to go through any key information that I found out, really, that I feel like we should all generally know, and I feel like it's something that should be passed on to other people, whether you've got the gene or not. Some of these stats for me to find out were ridiculously crazy, that as women we don't know these stats for ourselves, and that we're not told these things so that we can go and do our own research. There might be some of you out there that are like me and have got the chance of possibly getting the gene or having the gene, and you haven't looked into it yet, and maybe you don't want to know, maybe it's just something that you might be thinking about in the future when you're thinking about going into having children or anything like that. But it is something that I want to make people aware of. So basically giving you all the general knowledge on everything that I found out. I don't want to ramble on, which is what I usually do. I'm just going to get straight to the point and tell you all the information that I found out, so then that you guys can take that with you, and it's just something that you're a little bit more knowledgeable on, as well. Sorry guys, I just had to turn the music off then because I couldn't fully concentrate. So I'm just going to take you to the beginning of the phone call, and the stats and the breakdown that she gave me. So basically, as a woman, every single one of us has a 15% chance of getting breast cancer. Even them stats alone for me was absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe that the stats was so high as an average woman who didn't have the gene of getting breast cancer. 15%, that's crazy. Then she went on to tell me your chances if you had the gene, what your percent was if you had the gene. This just absolutely blew my mind, and I couldn't believe, when I found out these stats, I couldn't believe that I wasn't going to find out whether I had this gene for the next 10 years if I wasn't going in to get my boobs done. So if you have the gene, your chances of getting breast cancer before the age of 50 is a 60 to 80% chance. Like, why didn't I get told this? Why don't I know this? I was mind blown. Like, I actually can't believe that them stats are so high, and there is things out there that you can do which you're not told unless you go and ask, or unless you go and do the research yourself, that you can do to prevent this from happening. I would take any test under the sun to find these things out, because at the end of the day, it's not even just about you, it's about your future with your kids, your dads, your sisters, your partner, your husband. Like, it's not just you in the scenario that you have to think of. And she did say 9 times out of 10 when people find out this information, they don't want to go and get the test because they're scared, and they don't want to go and do all the things that they have to do. They're quite happy just living their life and not worrying about it until something happens. For me, that start, it just wasn't happening. I was going to eliminate any chance of that ever happening. Then she went on to ovarian cancer, and like I said, BRCA gene, it's 3 different types of cancer. So it's the BRCA1, so you have breast, ovarian and prostate cancer. So, by the way, men can also, if you've got a son, sorry, my camera went off, I've got an itch. If you've got a son, it doesn't mean that they will get breast cancer either, because men still have breast tissue, they just have a little bit less of it. Then we went on to ovarian cancer. So every woman has a 2% chance of getting ovarian cancer. So 2%, okay, that seems quite normal, not as drastic as the breast cancer one. But if you have the gene, again, your chances of getting ovarian cancer is 30 to 70%. Even 30% is still far too high for me on that spectrum, and up to 70% is just crazy. And that is before the age of 50 as well also, because like we said, the way they find out if it's genetic is because you either have a mum and a nan who have got any of them types of cancers before the age of 50. So yeah, crazy, isn't it? Absolutely, like, crazy. I think I sat there for 10 minutes with me piece of paper and all my notes that I wrote down, and I was like, wow, I actually can't believe this. I actually can't believe we do not know this. We was not told this. But the woman was absolutely lovely on the phone, and obviously it's personal choice if you want to go and find out whether you've got the gene or not. Now, saying that, there is things that you can do. So like I said in the last video, I had a plan A and a plan B. Plan A hopefully was that we didn't have the gene and I could go in and get the surgery. Plan B was, what are we doing if we do have the gene? Let's just go in, get it done. So there is, like I said, there is things that you can do. So the first thing that you can do is you can get all of your breast tissue removed. So if you get most of your breast tissue removed, obviously that brings your percentage down from being 60 to 80, and it brings it all the way down from being maybe like 1 to 2% with whatever breast tissue you've got left. But obviously they try and take out as much as possible when they're removing it. Then once you've had the breast tissue removed, you let your boobs heal, and then you can either go in and you can rebuild it up with other parts of your body to form maybe a natural looking breast. Sometimes you can do an implant, it just completely depends. They don't look at doing that for you until you are close to the age of 30. I think it's more so to make sure that it's a decision that it's such a big decision to make, and it is something that you want to get done. Because obviously it's a big change in your body, and you know, you're a woman, and it is like taken away, like you feel like it's taken away a bit of your femininity, you even can't get the words out. But obviously it's going to feel very deflating, it's going to have a bit of an effect on your mental health and things like that. So there is things to consider, and that's why they don't consider looking at it until you are close to 30. They also do put you through a year of counselling beforehand, before you go in and get this operation done, to make sure you're prepared for after you've had the operation, you're prepared for the changes in your body, the changes in your looks, and things like that. Now, what you can do for ovarian, if you do have the gene, is I always thought you would have a hysterectomy and then you'd never be able to have kids again. That's not the case. What they can actually do is they can wait till you've had your babies, and then they can take out your tubes and your ovaries, and it's just a keyhole surgery, so it's a smaller surgery compared to having a hysterectomy. The thing is, if you take out your tubes and your ovaries earlier than when your menopause is naturally going to start, it does start early menopause. So if you were to go in, say at the age of 30, when you'd had your kids and you'd had your tubes and your ovaries taken out, it starts early menopause for you. So obviously that's something as a younger woman you might not want to go in and do. So they can give you tablets to help with that. However, if you previously haven't had your breast tissue taken out, they can't give you any tablets, because them tablets, they tell you, increases your chances of having breast cancer. So not just me, not just the person with the gene, any woman out there. So if you're taking them tablets, they increase your chances of having breast cancer. So if you've already got a high risk and you've still got your breast tissue in, then they won't give you them tablets. So there is a lot to consider and a lot to take in. Prostate cancer, they don't really know the stats on as well. They're not too sure on that at the minute. And then we went on to talking babies. So naturally, obviously every woman wants to have their own kids and it to be their own egg and things like that, but sometimes it's not always the case. I had spoke about it a little bit with Jordan as well, and we had said, I had kind of said, and he did quite agree, I didn't really ever want to pass. If I knew that I had a gene like this, there was no chance in hell that I was risking having my own kids and passing it on. So when the lady asked me on the phone, I said to her, well, if I had the gene, I'd probably just stopped, because I don't want to risk, I don't want it to ever be my fault, or think that it was ever my fault that I'd passed the gene on to someone when I knew I could have prevented it. If that was the case, if you know you can prevent something, I just feel like maybe you should try as much as you can. But when she actually explained to me that there's something amazing that they can do, and it's free if you fit the criteria, which we did. So what you can actually do is, they can actually do a form of IVF. So they can take the egg and the sperm, and they can create embryos, and then they would only implant the embryos in you which didn't have the genes. So they can check all the embryos for the genes, and then they can implant you with the embryos that didn't have the genes. How amazing is that? I couldn't believe how amazing that was. I was like, wow, this is crazy, you can actually do that. So that put my mind at, that was my main worry and my main concern. So that put my mind at ease with that, and I think it's good for people to know that is an option and that is something that you can do, because like I said beforehand, I didn't know that was a thing until I'd spoke to them and we were looking down or possibly thinking about other routes and things like that. But I did just want to make us aware of even just your everyday stats of your 15% of breast cancer. Guys, that is crazy. I mean, you shouldn't go scaring yourself, checking your boobs and being paranoid every single day, but it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I do think that check your boobs a couple of times a month whenever you're in the shower. Tip not to do it when you're on your period or when you're due on your cycle, because your boobs can feel quite gritty and lumpy anyway naturally, so you don't want to go worrying yourself and thinking there's something there. Wait until you've come off your period, wait until your boobs settle. You can go online and there's some tips and ways on how to feel it. Don't be getting paranoid with it, but just keep an eye out for it, because keep an eye out about how comfortable you're feeling in your bra, because sometimes it can be when you're wearing a bra and things can get a little bit uncomfortable, and if something's rubbing against something, it is good to just always keep an eye on things. If anyone is in the same situation that I was in and you want to talk or you want some information about it, just ask me and I can send you it. I'm sure you can find it all online, and the woman that I did deal with was absolutely lovely, who I spoke to about it. And I mean, it's not her fault that I didn't know all this information. I just think it's crazy that I could have just went through the next 10 years and not known any of this. I could have had kids naturally and had the gene and never known about it, and then it kicked myself when I found out the information in 10 years time. I would have been absolutely livid with myself. So I think doing your research on these things and having a little bit look into it more if you want to. If you have possibly got the gene, then have a little bit of a research and look into it. So yeah guys, so I've only really done this video because I just wanted to give you a general understanding of all the information that I found out, but more so just a general bit of knowledge on the stats that we've got for your everyday woman with your breast and ovarian cancer. And if you wanted to go and look into that, you could always go and look into that. The other thing that I just wanted to say was they did have other options for you to go down, other avenues. So if you didn't want to go and get the gene, you had the option of having a full body MRI scan every single year from the age of 30. You also had early mammogram scans, which you could get. However, when I've done a little bit of research on mammograms, they're not the best, considering they can actually, affect chances of getting breast cancer. They can increase it a little bit. Just do your research on them. Do your research on thermograms as well, I think they're called, which you can get them now in places like massage salons and stuff like that. Some places actually do them where you can go in and you can pay for that service. They're a lot better for you, they're a lot healthier and a lot safer to use, so that is something to go in and have a look at. The only other thing that I wanted to add into this video is, I don't know whether you've seen on the last photos that I posted from when I was first on the pill. So I was on the pill for about 18 months before I found out about my mum's cancer, and when I went to go and ask about the pill, whether I needed to swap it or whether it could increase my chances of anything, they told me to just come off it. Obviously different nurses say completely different things, but when I've done my research on it, they don't tell you this when you go and get the contraceptive pill. I mean, why would they? Because no one would go and get it anyway. I'm not saying that there's all doctors are out there to try and harm you and things like that, because obviously there's possible side effects to absolutely anything. The side effects to coffee when you're drinking coffee. Don't look so far deeply into it, but what I would say is just make sure you're on the right thing for you and for your body, and just to have a little bit of research before you go and put something, like you go and take something every single day and things like that. Really hope I haven't rambled on this video. All I really wanted to do was just give you some information on what I got told and what I learned, because I think it is valuable information that should be passed on. I don't want to scare anyone as well. I just think it's best for people to know and for people to know the options. If you've got any questions, please just send them over. I hope you all have a gorgeous day, and hope it's been some information that you're gonna make use of, or you've just got there if you ever need it. But yeah, have an absolutely gorgeous day guys. Bye.